All right, y'all. Welcome to the Blueprint Podcast. We talk about building online communities, entrepreneurship, and faith. I'm Michael the Architect, your host, and I'm here with my guest, Mr. Tony B. Introduce yourself. I know you got a lot of hats, so tell us which one you're going to be talking with today.
Just speaking from the heart, man. I'm involved in a lot of different industries, businesses, move around with a lot of different people, and just do my thing to leave my heart and serve my purpose, which is just to elevate those around me.
Yeah. So what do you do for a living? What's your business? What niche are you in?
So I used to define myself by a role when I was in corporate America, but I've been a full-time entrepreneur and investor since 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I just move with energy, invest in right deals, opportunities, and try to elevate people around me.
Yeah, love that. So we're going to talk about today time management and productivity as an entrepreneur. And I know you've been an entrepreneur for a while now, and so navigating how to balance your time and make sure you're productive. I think there's a dichotomy of being busy but being productive. Right. And so we had a great conversation the other day on the phone. I was like, man, more people need to hear this. So I was like, hey, let's go to the studio, let's shoot a podcast, and let's talk about it. To start off this episode, I want to share a personal story from my own life to give you guys context where I think this is really important. So actually really recently, this past Wednesday, had probably one of the best days of my entrepreneurship journey, right? Just like it was a really great day. Had a couple sales calls with some just like high quality leads that I felt really good about. I think I loved the direction that we went. Right. Had some big wins for myself. Yeah. So Wednesday happens and I'm like, man, if every day was like Wednesday, that's what I want for 2024, right? So then Thursday comes and I don't know what happened, but it was not Wednesday. So I got about halfway through the day and I started to feel like I was reaching. I was like, I can't focus. I'm trying to do too many things at one time. And at the end of the day, I just got irritated. I got frustrated. I was like, this isn't what I wanted. And so I go to a mindset coach. I was processing that with him, and I was processing it with my wife. And I realized that the reason I did that is because I was trying to duplicate what happened on Wednesday. And so I reached for it, right? And I just went and hustled for it, right? And the reality is what happened with Wednesday was a wave of like consistency and things I had been doing. So I was just riding that wave, and the culmination of that wave led to, hey, a really great Wednesday. Right. And so what really should happen is I should have celebrated that, been in the moment with that, and restarted that wave and just keep it going instead of trying to like replicate something. And so I'm curious, like, what do you think about that? And what do you think is the best way for an entrepreneur to manage their day? Like, how can you get the most out of your day on a consistent basis?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me to your podcast. It's a beautiful set, and I love your energy. You came and you interviewed me at my place, my office, which is also a different residence. And you saw me in my space. I'm always usually to myself and trying to get organized and trying to knock out things. But as an entrepreneur, you have to adjust, right? You're going to be thrown curveballs. You're going to have great days. You're going to have bad days, but you have to go through each day the same way. And a part of being able to do that is be able to understand what your priorities are, understand a win versus a loss. And every day, by the way, is a win. Even if you see it as a loss, don't get down on your lost days because that's a part of the process. It's a part of becoming successful. Right. Now, when you have such a high like you did and you are ecstatic about it and you put all your energy into that one emotion, you know what I'm saying? Then you're setting yourself up for failure because it's not going to be that way every day. Right. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself a break. If necessary, I'm not going to say take a day off, but take whatever time you need in order to enjoy that moment. And then, okay, let's regress. Let's regroup. Let's start over. But it's a matter of putting systems and processes in your own world that allows you to recognize your wins and then move on. You know what I'm saying? So
talk about what that looks like in your life and in your business. What are some things that you do on a consistent basis, or how you structure your days to make that same flow happen in your life?
Yeah, my day is different, but I start with the same morning routine. I don't get out of bed and just run. I get out of bed and I put myself in a certain state of mind that allows it to be productive regardless. I pray, I meditate, I have a whole system and routine. I read a little bit, and all that takes me about 10 minutes, maybe 20 at the most. And then right after that, I got to get my kids to school, talk to my staff. And this morning I was on the phone at 6 a.m. with a publisher. You know what I'm saying? So I do a lot of different things prior to the world waking up. You know what I'm saying? That's going to put me at a high level of execution every day, regardless of the outcome. I have certain priorities that I need to take care of. And if I don't finish them all, I don't put that stress on myself. Okay, cool, I'll get to it tomorrow. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I know some people say the grind never stops.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, for myself, I have a family. So I got to give them time. I can't give them my fumes. So just as pointed as I am on my execution throughout the day, I have to be as pointed with them as well.
What do you think about a 4-hour workday? Like an entrepreneur being able to get everything I got to do in 4 hours.
These days it's possible with social media, virtual assistants. These days that can happen, but you have to define what's a successful day to you. What's that look like, right? What's that productivity look like? What's that impact look like on whatever it is that you're doing or the people around you? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you shortchanging yourself and other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What are you ultimately working for? It's beautiful if everybody can work 4 hours a day. That's not a reality. I get the book 4-hour work week, but let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Life throws you curveballs, and you just got to take them on as they come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that, and I think that's something that I've been processing. And I think something you said is that you got to know what that looks like for you. So for me, being able to backtrack and going back to that story, okay, what happened on Wednesday? What were the things that actually I was like, okay, those are the things that need to happen. Right. I was in the emotion of it. Hey, I love the emotion that I felt about the day. That I got to peel back that. Okay, what were the things that led to that, and stick to those things, and not just seek the emotion, but seek the activities. Right?
Yeah, a lot of times emotion and business don't mix. So you just got to keep it real with yourself and continue to execute at a high level. But that comes with putting your brain in the right place before you even take on a win or a loss.
Yeah. That's good. So let's talk about the difference between the grind and the hustle and productivity. Because what's the question everybody always asks you? You staying busy? You know what I mean? That's the one everyone's always asking, right? So for an entrepreneur, what's the difference between staying busy and being productive?
So I think I'm a guy that moves with energy. You know what I'm saying? I know you felt that. But my thing is, if you putting your all into something, that's definitely hustle. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to maximize my potential, maximize my energy and my efforts and my targets towards getting whatever it is that I want. You know what I'm saying? And out of that, I should measure some form of productivity. You know what I'm saying? If you're not producing nothing, I don't care. As soon as you get out of bed, you make your bed, that's production for the day. So I count the small wins as big as they're just as big as the major accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that answers your question, but just move with all your energy towards whatever it is that you want, execute at a high level. Don't compromise, on certain things that you're not willing to give up or willing to uncompromise on.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is sometimes it comes with experience, but understanding what are the things that actually move the needle in my business and define those things as that's busy for me. I'm doing these things for me. If I'm making content, if I'm connecting with other creators, I'm connecting with my target audience, if I'm doing my sales calls, making those opportunities to pitch what I do. Those are the things that I have to do every day. So when somebody asks me, are you staying busy? In my mind, I'm like, okay, did I do those things?
Don't necessarily answer to their satisfaction. I mean, there are certain KPIs throughout the day that keeps you busy, that keeps you on target. Don't necessarily, you can have processes and systems to manage those things. But if you just manage your mental, the rest gonna take care of itself because you can't be stressed out about what you didn't do or whatever. But if it was on your priority list and it either moved the needle on what your target is, if it actually got you a client for the day or a client set of some of your clients, then you won. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your stress on all the stuff the intricacies of the day because that's just the part of the process. That's gonna happen. I mean, you have KPIs that help you measure those things. And then as you grow, you put people around you that can, I don't know if you use virtual assistants or not, but the things that don't really make the money or don't really make the impact for you, outsource those things.
Yeah, that's good. You mentioned business is mental. How much do you think business is mental? What's the percentage between like mental and just like a tactical good business, right?
Probably 98% is mental in my mind. I think everything moves from idea. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be at this podcast if you didn't have the idea. Everything happens for that. That's why you got to take care of your mental. It's cool. It's extremely important to have processes and systems that make things in the physical world easy for you. But you also need to take your space and just get away from it and not think about anything.
Okay.
That's what meditation is important.
Okay. So let's talk about that and it's interesting to apply tacticalness to mentality, but what does that look like in a specific, like how does someone prioritize their mentality and their business over some of the more day-to-day activities.
People have problems at home. You can you can carry your problems to your business, right? You still a human at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not taking care of your mental, then you're also not taking care of your business or anything else you're involved in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're also neglecting people around you because you're so worried about whatever it is that you're worried about that you are skipping over steps and you just not making it pleasant for anybody, not including yourself.
Yeah, so, that's something that I learned. Thankfully, have a faith journey. Something God showed me toward the end of 2023 was I didn't think that I was worthy of the success that I wanted. And I didn't realize how it was subconscious to a degree. Like I never would have been like, oh yeah, I don't think I'm worthy for the X, Y, and Z. Like I never would have said that out loud.
You're not worthy of the success that you want.
Yeah, like that was a thought pattern that I had. I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think I was good enough. And how that played out in my business was I had hired some coaches to help me with some sales and some marketing stuff. And they would have these group calls, get on and ask questions. And I would never go to the group calls. And I would always come up with a reason why I didn't go. And so I remember having a one-on-one with one of the coaches and we're talking through some progress that I hadn't made or some things I still wanted to do. And
so let me ask you a question. So why didn't you want it? If you didn't think you were worthy of it, why did you want it? Well, what was so appealing to you?
So for me, there's success that I want that is like, frankly, financial, right? Being able to provide for my family and do things I want to do from a financial perspective. Yeah. Then there's also things I want to prove to myself. Like, hey, I want to prove to myself that I can do this, right? Like, hey, this is something I said I want to do. I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to reach these goals, right? And then on the other side of that, though, to answer your question, there was self-doubt, right? So that's where that self-doubt was like, I'm not good enough for this, right? Or I don't think I'm good enough, right? And
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it was imposter syndrome, but I think it was deeper than imposter syndrome for me. I think it was more about my identity as a person. I think imposter syndrome is based off of like a skill set to a degree. Like imposter syndrome went away from me when I'm good at skills. Like if I know I mastered a skill, I've done it enough time, imposter syndrome always goes away from me, right? For me, it's okay, who am I as a person? What's my identity? What am I put on this earth for? And for me, I was getting blocked from a mentality. I wasn't able to think about this is my identity. Like I am a co-creator with Christ. Like I'm here to create alongside of God. Like I am a leader. Like I have all these things.
If you're a guy of Christ, which is I am at least. So you have faith. You can't have faith and doubt at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's one or the other. If you doubt in yourself, then you don't have faith. So you got to strengthen your belief in faith. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you follow God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're never going to outwork your dreams. So just continue to dream big, continue to believe in yourself, and just know that whatever you're going through is a part of the process. Those folks that are on stage or that are at those levels that you admire, they've been through all of this. They just own who they are, own their skill set, and execute it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that faith piece was a reality. Like, oh, wow, like, my faith in God and my faith in myself weren't as strong as I thought. And that takes, we're getting real here. That's not just like an overnight switch. Like you can't just, oh yeah, I got faith now, I'm good. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a process that you have to start building. And so for me, the mentality, and the reason I'm being bold about this is because I think there's a lot of people who struggle with this type of stuff and they don't really necessarily know that exists. So I want to tell my story to paint a picture for them, because I think me going back to my identity and who I am now gives me foundational steps to start building that trust. Going back to the identity of who God is, right? The truth of his word, like those give me now giving me foundational to build that faith, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Listen, you just got to know what you want and execute at a high level. I come from nothing, man. I come from not knowing what I wanted to do. I come from the trenches. So I grew up around drugs, folks around me going to jail, just hard times. So where I am in life just shows me and shows other people that they can achieve anything they want to. You got to believe in yourself more than your situations around you. At the end of the day.
How did you believe in yourself when you came from where you came from?
Realistically, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know what I didn't want to do. And I didn't want that lifestyle. At 14, I started working in a country club. I would go to work and I would see pieces of lifestyles that I wanted, but then I would come back to my reality, which wasn't so pleasant. So I began to dream and see myself in these places and then experience things like eating finer foods, driving up neighborhoods. And I would speak to these folks every day because it was my work, but then I'd have to go back to my reality. So I always saw myself bigger than the reality of my world. And then eventually I evolved and came and put myself through school, put myself in the around the right people, made my level of mistakes, and landed where I am.
Yeah. So I think for you, you were able to visualize what you really wanted, and that imagination now manifested that in the moves that you then made.
I just knew I wanted a better environment. I knew if I wanted to have kids, I wanted be able to do more for them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know specifically what I wanted. I just knew what I didn't want. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of took me in a direction of bumps and bruises, being around some of the wrong people that took advantage of my kindness and everything, and just escalated and elevated and learned certain skill sets and everything, and that put me where I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with being authentically me. I don't have to impress anybody. I've had all the cars. I have all the homes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just live life on my terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate, I guess, brain fatigue, and like when you are like, if somebody is like working like in the reality where there are times when you gotta hit the pavement,
I mean,
right? Like how do you
yeah.
manage that fatigue and being emotionally available for your family and being able to balance those two things?
First of all, when family comes first, you got to understand there's a priority and certain things I got to be there for, that I'm there for. I don't think with home life and work life, and especially if I'm executing at a high level, it's a balance. It's more of a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So I speak to my wife, my kids, and everything. They understand what I'm doing, what I'm trying to achieve in a certain period.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go and do what I need to do and I execute at a high level and I spend the time I need to, for example, this was the weekend. A lot of people let the weekend, just because the weekend, be their actual weekend. You know what I'm saying? The weekend of their story, the weekend of what they do. Everybody think they got to rest on the weekend. I worked till 4 a.m. on Saturday, and I worked all day Sunday. You know what I'm saying? In my office, just grinding, doing a lot of things that I needed to do. That takes sacrifice. I didn't spend Sunday with my family. I didn't spend most of Saturday with my family. And then I worked until 4 a.m. and I slept at my office. You know what I'm saying? It takes a great deal of sacrifice, but also transparency in what you're doing. Communicate with those around you and just continue to execute. And you know what? You do things in silent. You don't always got to be loud about what you do. That way the haters don't know where to attack, right?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Man, hey, thanks for sharing your story. I'm glad you're here to give your knowledge back to us and encourage us with where you've been at. So
as long as you're moving forward, things will happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if it don't look like it.
Love it. Cool. Thank y'all for tuning in.